this is where we get into the meat and potatoes of the stream. The first thing we're gonna watch is 3 disturbing true cruise ship horror stories. Wait.
Yeah, moving like a magician, how I make it disappear. Bitch, I'm aiming for the top, we going viral all year. Spread the word to the people, I ain't here to spread fear. Shedding blood in these streets, that's a whole lot of tears.
So, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be completely real with y'all. I picked out the hat, and then I picked out this video, right? This was not something that was planned. This was like right before I hit go live. So, we gotta make it work. You know, we had to do something. Okay, I just had to make it work. So let's see if Mr. Nightmare can scare us again, because that last one was crazy. That last one we watched with the forest, that was insane.
In honor of Summerfest approaching, today's stories will be focused on people's horrific experiences on cruise ships.
Me and Dave been talking about taking a cruise ship for the longest, so let's hope this doesn't give me a phobia of boats.
Before getting into the stories, I would like to thank this video's sponsor, June's Journey. If you're a big murder mystery or true crime person, June's Journey will be right up your alley. June's Journey is a free-to-download, engaging vintage murder mystery game set in the Roaring '20s. The game challenges
this might be a fire game.
Uncover hidden objects.
I don't doubt it. Not the game for me though.
My name is Shelby. My late husband Antonio was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Rest in peace.
Long story short, he passed away in a motorcycle accident exactly 8 years ago as I'm writing this, April 29th, 2016. What I'm about to tell you is something I've blocked out of my mind since it happened, but I think I'm finally ready to open up about it. Anyway, Antonio and I both grew up in Italy. English is actually my second language. He always dreamed of traveling to Greece, but we kept postponing the trip. One of my biggest regrets was not taking time off work one summer to go with him. In late spring of 2018, I decided to bite the bullet and take the trip he had always talked about. Being only 36 years old with no children, I didn't too much like the prospect of traveling alone, so I decided to book a cruise, thinking it would be more relaxing. I was actually in luck. Celebrity Cruise Line had a Best of Greece cruise that covered 6 cities. Athens.
How much do cruise ships normally cost? Like not like the ship, but like rides. Wait. There we go. All these websites, bro. Which one is like? We need like an Amazon of cruise ship websites. Like, why do you have like 50 of them? Oh, they like 300. They're like 400. Ain't bad. Disney Cruise Line, $780. My man, is Minnie Mouse on that ship doing tricks on it? Why am I paying $780 to ride a boat? Do I get a share of that boat? Do I get to take part of that boat home? That's insane. That's insane. Ludicrous.
Santorini, Ephesus, Mykonos, Volos, Thessaloniki, and back to Athens. I tried my best to be excited about the cruise, knowing it was what he would have wanted, but I couldn't help but find the whole thing somewhat melancholy. It just felt wrong to be there without him. Admittedly, I may have gotten a little too wine drunk the first night after leaving Athens, but I felt I was entitled to behave less prudently.
You didn't like bring a friend?
After exiting the boat and enjoying the city's offerings.
Like, that's my thing. Like, she should at least brought like a friend with her or something, or like a family member. I don't know. I'm not too big on going places by myself like that. Like places like doing big trips by myself. Like, that ain't me.
I found myself drinking endless martini after martini at some nameless bar. That's when I noticed him across the bar. There was some 40-year-old looking man with long, straight brown hair and an unkempt beard. He wasn't bad looking actually, but his stare was unsettling. At first, I brushed it off as the wandering gaze of some lonely guy. Maybe he found me attractive. I wasn't gonna get offended if he wanted to look at me. After catching his eye a few more times though, I started feeling unease begin to set in. The way he was glaring at me was just so perturbing. It wasn't seductive or charming like he was trying to flirt or anything like that. It was literally as if he were trying to sear a hole in my face with his eyes.
Maybe he was trying to flirt. You know, some people are just bad at flirting. Like, I can imagine, like, I'm sitting at the bar, you know. Obviously, I'm the captain of the ship, so, you know, I'm on my off time. You know, I got my drink, you know, good, great value purified drinking water, right? And let's say you're the attractive person that caught my eye across the bar. I can imagine I'm like, man, that person, so like, and my ADHD ass probably just gonna stare because, you know, I've lost track of time and I'm just thinking to myself, and I'm just like, I could get it. Like, I could understand. You know, I mean, he's probably gonna do something after I say that to make me now understand her point. But, you know, right now, I can see both sides.
I finished what must have been my 8th drink, paid my tab, and quickly made my way back to the dock. By that night, my memory of that man had completely dissipated. The next city on the docket was Ephesus. My time there was essentially spent the same way, consuming far more alcohol than was acceptable for a woman my age. Other than some fleeting guilt, everything went well in Ephesus. Mykonos was next. I'm sure it won't come as a surprise to any of you at this point. Near the end of the day, I unavoidably found myself sitting alone at an outdoor bar, and that's when I noticed him. There was a man standing against a light fixture with his arms crossed. I strained my eyes, thinking my mind must have been playing a trick on me. It was unmistakable, though. It was the guy from Santorini. He was too far away for me to tell whether he was looking at me, but his head was tilted in my direction. Oddly, he was wearing the same exact outfit he had worn in Santorini.
He probably washed it.
A wave of discomfort washed over me.
You know, again, you know, let's be fair. Maybe he was on the ship with her. She just didn't notice him. Then, you know, he was probably walking around. He saw her. He was like, "Hey, is that her?" And she was like, "Hey, is that him?" You know, that's probably what happened.
Was I being stalked? My palms began feeling clammy, so I nervously rubbed them on my dress as I lowered my head, trying to avoid looking in his direction. I could feel his aura radiating, though.
Hopefully that's what women say about me. They feel my aura radiating because I have so much of it. And hopefully not that they think I'm a kidnapper of some kind. You know, hopefully they just think I'm a cool dude.
And from that far away, I couldn't help myself. I glanced back up, but he was gone.
I
might expect my body to have flushed with relief, but I was actually even more anxious. I frantically began looking around, trying to see if he had gotten closer. I didn't feel comfortable walking back to the boat alone, so I ran into a couple that was leaving and made some small talk, then walked back with them. That night, instead of retiring to my stateroom, I decided to explore the boat in hopes of running into that strange man. After
You wanted to run into him? Wait. Pause the game. Pause the game. I thought the whole point was that she felt creeped out. Now, why are you looking for it? Why are you hoping to run into him by yourself on this boat when everyone's going to sleep? Why? What?
Scouring the boat in its entirety, I gave up around midnight. The next morning, I got off the boat in Volos, determined to solve this mystery. Instead of
Who are you? The Scooby-Doo gang? Like, bro, are you Daphne? Like, what do you mean you were determined to solve this mystery? What? You made the mystery. You made this. What do you mean solve? There's a chance he's not even on the boat. So what mystery are you?
Venturing into the city, I opted to wait at the gangway.
Meet the ads.
I watched painfully for an inordinate amount of time as person after person made their way off the ship. I didn't miss a single one, but he wasn't one of them. Frustrated, I returned to the ship and spent the rest of the day by the pool. Thessaloniki was the last city. As much as I dreaded it, I had to reconcile the fact that I'd be wasting my vacation if I stayed on the boat. So reluctantly, I got off the ship.
Dude, a thug shaking you a gift? Hold on, let me see what the thug shaker really be, because I ain't trying to shake some ass when I don't need to. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't trying to, you know? Let's see the thug shaker. Okay, I'm gonna take a page from Kai Cenat. Whatever Kai Cenat does, that's gonna be what I consider
thug shake. Oh, don't come on, man. Oh, you can't do that. Come on. Don't do that for me, Joe.
That's a thug shaker? That's it? Yeah, I was just joking too. Yeah, I wasn't even considering it. I was just, you know, I was just playing along, just joining into the joke. That's all.
And tried to enjoy the city. Feeling superstitious, I thought it might be best to avoid bars and alcohol this time around, which I did. Instead, I wandered the streets aimlessly, admiring the architecture and enjoying the weather. And then, as if on cue, there he was again. He was a few streets down in the middle of the road, with his arms at his...
I'm starting to think she's crazy, bro. Like I wasn't really thinking it when she saw him twice, but it was like, you went and looked for this man on this boat until 12 in the morning. What are you doing? Like, why do you want to run into him so bad? Like, what? This be those books, them goddamn romance novels. This is what they get you. Walking around the ship at 12, I'm thinking that he's the good guy now.
his sides.
Fucking
Instead
Gustavo.
of being afraid, I felt a huge rush of adrenaline-induced confidence start to pour in. I yelled out to him and began walking in his direction. Instead of acknowledging me, he actually turned and ran. It was bizarre. He turned a corner, and I chased after him. I made it to the...
Why are you chasing him? You're the weird one now. You're the weird one. You're chasing this man down. We don't know this man's story at all.
Corner and barely saw him run down another street, and I sprinted to follow him. I turned the same corner, and he had disappeared. Nowhere to be seen, like he had evaporated out of existence. I couldn't sleep that night. I was relieved when the ship pulled into Athens, but once I made it back home, I couldn't shake the nagging feeling of that man that was weighing on my mind. I whipped out my laptop and started doing research. I wasn't quite sure what to even look for, but I thought recent police reports were a decent place to start. After having no luck, I stumbled upon some missing persons advertisements. I scrolled through page after page, and then I found something. There, in the middle of the page, was a missing person ad for a guy who looked almost identical to the guy who had been following me. I stared, frozen in shock. What was even more disturbing, though, was his name. He had the same first name as my Antonio, which was a cruel coincidence. The very first thing I did was call the police and report my sightings. The operator thanked me for my assistance and put me on hold. A few minutes later, she asked me if I was 100% confident in what I had seen. I told her yes. After an uncomfortable pause, she went on to say that they had actually closed that man's case just over a month ago.
Let me guess, bro's dead? Let me guess, bro died. And she saw a ghost. That's the plot. The plot that is a ghost followed her around fucking Italy because he wanted that cougar cooch.
Apparently he had been found dead in a boating accident off the coast of Parga, Greece.
Nigga wasn't like me.
What's more sinister, though, is the date of his confirmed death was the exact month and day of my husband's passing, just 2 years.
You know what? I can't really be mad. I can't really be mad. Because last time I watched Mission Nightmare, he had a filler part like later in the video, and I said, you know, you really should put that in the beginning because this was filler. He just put the filler in the beginning. I can't be mad. I asked for this. I actually did ask for this.
Years later, I hung up the phone, literally shivering. I don't think I've ever been more terrified than I was at that moment. I began feeling dizzy, questioning if maybe I was going crazy, like had I imagined everything. Suddenly, another wave of realization slapped me in the face. The only city I hadn't seen him in, Ephesus, was actually a city in Turkey, not Greece. I'm not a believer of the paranormal, but I've spent hours trying to rationalize my sightings, and no conclusion I reach makes sense. My niece Maria had her wedding in Athens last summer, though, so I had no choice.
If this nigga is at the wedding, mingling at that wine bar, we're turning off this goddamn video.
Like clockwork, there he was again. I only saw him for a split second this time, standing in that same outfit by the bar, head pointed in my direction. To be completely honest with you, there were so many drunk people there that I might have imagined it. Either way.
We're turning this fucking video. Nah. This nigga was really at the bar. No, we're turning it off. What the fuck? I want our cruise to be... Bro, it's like... Bro, The next one better be a banger. Like I'm talking, the next one better be a 10 out of 10 FNAF on the water banger.
I vowed to never step foot in Greece again.
Devin B.
I'm a senior at Rowan University in South Jersey. My friends in the sorority Phi call me Devin. Last summer, I took a
too close to home,
Bahamas cruise
man.
with some of my girlfriends to let off some steam. We had all just turned 21, so our goals for this vacation were to drink more, and have fun. We all felt like we deserved this vacation after such a grueling semester spent dealing with Greek life drama and schoolwork. Anyway, I'll keep things short. I was with my friends Talo, Messina, and Taylor. Taylor and I didn't always see eye to eye. There was some petty drama between the two of us. I always assumed she was jealous of me because she never spent any time in the gym and spent a lot of time eating. I think you can see what I'm getting.
God damn, Devin. Damn.
At. Anyway, I was really close with Talo and Messina, so I figured things would be peachy. The cruise line we had booked was Carnival, and it would be going to a couple of Bahamas islands before returning to New York City. The boat pulled into literally the first destination, called Paradise Island. Long story short, all four of us were really wasted at the bar, laughing and flirting with guys so they'd buy us drinks. It was actually really fun. At one point, Messina asked me if I would grab her a drink, so I did. I went up to the bar, ordered the drinks, and waited. Messina followed me to grab hers. The drinks came out, but I really wanted to take a selfie with her before we went back to our table. I pulled out my phone and took a couple selfies with the drinks. Just then, Talo called Messina over, and being as drunk as she was, she went bounding off without me, leaving her drink behind.
Okay, quick assumption on the plot. She took a photo. There was a dude in the camera like this. Right? He was in the camera. And it's just like, it's probably just a guy that saw the phone and like, got awkward. And then she gonna take another photo and the bro's gonna be in the back like these. And then she's like, oh, I'm getting a little bit spooked. And then she's gonna be somewhere else and then take another photo. He's gonna be in the camera like these. But now with a knife in his hand, like, and she's like, oh my god.
I didn't want someone to steal her drink, so I put my phone on the bar and grabbed her drink with my other hand. With both drinks, I made my way to where they were sitting and made fun of Messina for being so forgetful. Pretty soon after that, we had to start making our way back towards the boat. The literal second the boat pulled away, I started frantically searching for my phone. I felt like such an idiot.
Yeah,
I left it
you
at the
are.
bar.
Like you didn't have no pockets, like bite your phone. Like y'all ever do that? Where's my phone at? Like y'all ever like when like let's say I don't have pockets for some reason. Like let's say I'm wearing a Speedo, I don't got no pockets. Like I'm pretty sure I got a pocket on my shirt. Never mind, I don't. But like I'll be like,
Started crying, knowing this would for sure ruin our trip. I wanted to jump overboard for losing my phone on the first day of the cruise. I pulled out my laptop to try and locate my phone's location. To my surprise, it wasn't on the island, but it was actually showing up as somewhere on the boat. It was hard to pinpoint exactly where its location was, but I was relieved to think that someone must have found it and returned it to the Lost and Found or something. I went up to Lost and Found.
They didn't return that shit to no Lost and Found. They said, give me that. They thought they got a clean getaway. And it was like, yeah, someone on this island lost their phone, and I'm about to make a clean getaway on this ship. They're never going to see it again.
But no one had
That's
turned the
unfortunate for
phone
them,
in.
for real.
Any relief I had was completely gone now. Why would someone take my phone if they weren't planning on returning it? I went back to my friends.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? Why would they take my phone if they don't plan on returning it? Why?
And cried about it again. Talo told me not to worry about it, and that I should just try enjoying the trip as best I could. So that's what I did. I didn't think about it for a whole day, which I was really proud of. You never realize how much time you actually spend on your phone. I kept going to take selfies or check social media, only to realize I had no way of doing so. The next day, though, while I was in the very front of the boat, I pulled my laptop out of my bag to check my phone's location just out of curiosity. To my surprise, it was almost right on top of me. I started looking around, but there were so many people. Any one of them could have had my phone. I told my friends this, and they seemed as shocked as I was. All except Taylor. It looked like she was trying to hold back laughter. I started getting really annoyed when I noticed she found my situation funny. A few hours later, we found ourselves in the arcade at the back of the boat, messing around with the childish games and whatnot.
Did Taylor boot gang her? Did Taylor really steal from her? I ain't gonna lie, if Taylor took it. That comment earlier she made, I don't know, man. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying I can empathize with that situation that Taylor's going through.
Again, I pulled out my laptop, and once more, my phone's location was basically on top of me. Now I was furious. Whoever had my phone was following me around the boat. It had to be Taylor. That fatty thought this whole thing was a big joke.
Yo, if it's not Taylor, if it is not Taylor, the way she's about to look so dumb, it's insane. It has to be Taylor. There's no way that she would write that shit not knowing it wasn't Taylor.
I confronted her, showing her proof on my laptop. She insisted that she had no idea what happened to my phone, and it wasn't her fault that I was so stupid that I couldn't keep track of it.
Got him.
We started yelling at each other.
I'm on Team Taylor at this point.
Pretty mean things. I made her empty her pockets and her purse, which she reluctantly did. My phone wasn't anywhere in sight.
You deserve what about to happen, bro. You fucking deserve whatever ghost or goblin comes to get you, bro. Like, damn. You did all that, and for what? Yeah, Team Taylor. Yeah, fuck you, Devin.
Though, she called me an idiot again, smirking to herself. I stormed off by myself, tears streaming down my face.
Why are you crying?
I spent the rest of my day in my room and refused to do anything with Taylor for the rest of the night. The next...
What? Maybe I missed a piece of lore in that conversation that, like, completely changed sides.
Furious. Whoever had my phone was insisted that she had no idea what happened to my phone, and it wasn't her fault that I was so stupid that I couldn't keep track of it. We started yelling at each other, and I said some pretty mean things. I made her empty her pockets and her purse, which she reluctantly did. My phone wasn't anywhere in sight, though. She called me an idiot again, smirking to herself. I stormed off by myself.
So you go and cry after you just accused her of stealing from you, made her empty her belongings, nigga didn't even apologize, and now you're throwing a hissy fit and running off because you were wrong? I fucking hate this main character, bro. I hate this MC, bro. If I was the ship's captain, bro, she would have got booed off my boat.
Tears streaming down my face. I spent the rest of my day in my room and refused to do anything with Taylor for the rest of the night. The next 2 days went by really fast. I refused to hang out with Taylor the whole time, and instead spent both days by myself, randomly checking my phone's location out of desperation. When I got back to my room that night, I noticed something weird. There was an envelope lying on the ground, like someone had slipped it under the door.
Like at this point, I hope it's Taylor. Like I actually do hope it's Taylor at this point. Like I actually do. If it's Taylor, I'm not even switching sides. If it's Taylor, I'm still staying on Team Taylor.
The handwritten letter. I started reading, and I felt disgusted. Some random guy named Bart Vakinski had supposedly found my phone unlocked, went through it, realized how attractive I was, and wanted to confess his love for me. The letter was really short, but I felt utterly grossed out. Some creep had full access to my phone and knew what room I was staying in. I wanted to cry. I reported this to the crew's security team, hoping they'd be able to do something about it. Unfortunately, they were useless. The good news was that loser Bart didn't try to contact me again, and the crew...
Wait, how, like, he gave you his full name and they were useless? What? I feel like they should easily be able to, yeah, let's see this nigga Bart Krasinski, or whatever the fuck his name is, and let's just go get the phone back.
Ended. Taylor and I made up, and the four of us parted ways. I wish I could tell you the story.
Taylor's a better person than me, bro. I would have, like, that shit. That's crazy.
Ended there, though. That same night, after my dad drove me home, I was up late watching reality TV on my laptop. That's when it hit me. Why not check my phone's location now? I was kicking myself for not having thought about that sooner.
That shit's in the house.
I pulled it up and waited for it to load. I stared in shock as I realized the little blue dot was showing up right on top of my house. My blood ran cold.
Who is your stalker, Morbius? What do you mean he's... What? First off, I don't know about y'all, but that Find My iPhone app, it does not work like this. I'd be lucky if I'd be able to tell if it's in the same state as me. That shit goes to like half the planet, like it's somewhere in this area, and it's like all 3 states. And it's like, damn, bro, really? Cool.
I screamed, waking my family up. My dad burst into my room, realized what was going on, and sprinted outside in his bare feet, brandishing his hunting rifle. I followed close behind. My dad fired a shot into the air and screamed at the top of his lungs. Just then, some guy jumped our side gate and sprinted down the street. My dad hesitated before deciding not to follow him. I was mortified. My dad and I made our way around back.
To be real, like, I'm thinking about if I was a dad, you got this. Okay, I was gonna go into a whole different conversation about why the fuck he has a hunting rifle, but like, if I was really the dad, unless I had like something a little smaller, like, I don't know, like a pistol, I would probably chase his ass. Like, I'll probably catch up to his ass. Like, I'll probably get him. But like, hunting, or like, I just think about that big ass douche. Like, that recoil is gonna be insane. And bro shot in the air. Don't you gotta reload after every shot with a hunting rifle? I don't know. I only know because of Fortnite. I'm going on Fortnite logic, so.
And the scene was horrific. One of my dad's backyard ladders was leaned up against the side of the house, directly underneath my bedroom window. Even more horrifying, though, was that little wooden latch above the window was almost completely cut through. Maybe a few more minutes, and he would have been able to open the window. I might not have been alive telling the story if I had gone to sleep instead of checking my location. We filed a police report, and it's been almost 2 weeks without an incident. I still have trouble sleeping at night, knowing that some creep has access to all of my information. All my pictures, my name, contacts, and address. My phone has been deactivated, but I can only imagine what kind of data he was able to keep. I'll update if something else happens.
I'm gonna be real, bro. I hate the victim blame, but that's your fault. You sat there and you was like, I know. I'll leave my phone here so no one mess with the drink. What? And you left that shit unlocked? What? Like there's multiple steps to how bad she fucked up. Like, how many times do you sit your phone down and you don't automatically lock it as you're sitting at down table? Like when I have my phone in my hand and I'm like on it, I'm like, oh, I need to go do something. My first instinct is to hit this little button on the side so it goes off, put it down on the face. That's my first move. So not only did you knowingly left it out in the open, you didn't lock it knowing you were putting it in the open, like. And I ain't gonna lie, half my hatred's because of the whole Taylor thing. You deserve half of this shit to happen. I'm not saying that he should have, like, bust up in there and, got you or nothing, but, like, you know what I mean? Okay, Rosie W. Please be a W.
This might sound odd to some of you, but I've always dreamed of being a bartender on a cruise ship. I don't know why, but life at sea just sounds so peaceful to me. Plus, I guess what you'd call a social butterfly. And the people you meet on cruise ships always have the most fascinating stories. A few years ago, I made that dream a reality. As a cheerful woman in my mid-20s with a couple of years of bartending experience tucked under my belt, I breezed through the interview process. Royal Caribbean welcomed me as a bartender, and things were off to a great start. I won't bore you with the irrelevant details about my tenure, but you should know that this position came with lots of travel, sometimes too much. After just 2 tours, I interacted with 3 times the amount of people that I had working at my local bar for 2 months. The influx of people was overwhelming, but that's one of the reasons I vied so adamantly for this job. This story takes place during my 3rd tour, a 12-night transatlantic cruise from Miami to Portugal and Spain. It was a long one. We'd be at sea for 5 days straight. There was a silver lining though. I'd finally be back in Europe, and Royal Caribbean might let me take a week or 2 to return home to Lyon. To preface, I know how to hold my own against drunk, overly flirtatious men buying drinks from me, handsome or ugly, old or young. I always worked nights, so that's just part of the trade. During
I
this
feel like you should have like some kind of security guard there, no? Like I feel like that's the one place you really should. Is this what cruise ships look like? They be having stores on the inside? That's crazy.
particular cruise, one customer
Looks
stood
like a
out from
mall.
the rest, though. This tall, attractive 30-something-year-old kept catching my eye. Night after night, he'd find a seat at my bar, nursing his drinks slowly. Eventually, we struck up conversation about each other's lives, and he was always the last customer to leave the bar at the end of the night. For the first time in a while, I started looking forward to those late nights when Sebastian would hang around my bar. I could tell there was some depth behind those light green eyes. A sorrowful look seemed etched into his features. The third night, I got him to open up about it.
You're one poetic ass bartender. Like, bro, you sure you should have been a writer? What do you mean sorrow was etched into his face? What does that even mean? Like, I thought about it, I was like, bro, what would that look like if someone had sorrow etched into their face?
And the story was downright depressing. He reluctantly told me about his troubled marriage, pausing often as if weighing each word. His wife Sasha had been having an affair with his best friend from college, Charles.
Damn.
I won't get into the specifics, but it sounded brutal, and there were a lot of specifics. He literally told me their full names as if he had been waiting to vent to someone about this for years. He went on to tell me that he had boarded the cruise alone, hoping the vastness of the sea would help him forget his pain. I honestly didn't know how to react other than continuing to fill his glass. The night before we were scheduled to dock in Ponta Delgada, he expressed his gratitude for my company and listening ear. "You've made this trip bearable," he admitted. "Let me buy you a drink to show my thanks."
Bro's about to put something in that drink, and then she's gonna go to sleep.
This wasn't the first time I'd been offered a drink, but this time was different. I felt a genuine connection with this man, and it seemed unfair what he had gone through. I obliged, telling him I was happy to have helped him through such a difficult time. Normally, I'd pour my own drink, but he insisted on doing it himself.
He's about to Jeffrey Dahmer the fuck out of that cup.
Saying it was the polite and fair thing to do. I should have maintained professional boundaries, but his insistence combined with his apparent vulnerability persuaded me otherwise. Reluctantly, I agreed and invited him behind the bar.
Someone's about to be vulnerable.
A decision that might have changed my life. He mixed the drink, his hands steady, and handed it to me with a small, sad smile. The drink tasted fine, but within minutes, a heavy drowsiness clouded my senses.
She's about to wake up in the brig.
I tried to grasp the edge of the bar for support, but everything went black as I succumbed to the unexpected wooziness. I didn't even have time to scream. When I awoke, the sight before me was terrifying.
Is this nigga butt-ass naked with a rainbow unicorn hat on?
I was in my own room, but the place was in disarray. It looked like a tornado had ripped through it. Panic surged through me as I realized I was tied to my own bed with a towel shoved down my throat. A wave of relief washed over me as I concluded that my clothes were all still intact, untouched. An hour later, room service found me and freed me. It had been a full day. We were already pulling out of Jamaica.
Hey,
I
Jamaica.
was more angry than anything else. How could I have been so stupid? I had fallen for Sebastian's charming ploy, and he had taken advantage of my sympathetic nature. I doubted Sebastian was even his real name.
Probably not. That'd
My
be pretty
suite,
dumb
as
if
I
it
already
was.
said, was utterly trashed. My jewelry, phone, and my personal belongings were all gone. The safe was wide open, its contents vanished. My suitcase had also disappeared.
He robbed the fuck out of you. Oh my god. Make sure you check your shoelaces are there. Bro robbed the fuck out of you. He got his money's worth with that one.
The cruise ship's security team made a massive deal over this. Not to the passengers, obviously, but amongst themselves. They reviewed the footage, only to discover that that guy had disembarked early in Ponta Delgada, not returning to the ship. The crew had no choice but to leave him behind when he didn't show up to the gangway at departure time. They urged me to keep my mouth shut about all of this, telling me not to go to the public. They offered me substantial compensation and promised me they'd find him eventually. After all, he must have used a passport to book the cruise. In the weeks after the cruise, they contacted me and filled me in on what their search turned up.
They got him?
Because the cruise hadn't actually returned to the States, it was a nightmare trying to contact American police and give them details on the crime and the perpetrator. Portugal was a little more compliant, conducting at least a semblance of a search. But even I knew there was no way Sebastian was still in Portugal. The United States eventually did get involved, launching a full-scale investigation. The identities that man had used were all real. Real passport, real name, real address.
Now, this nigga Sebastian wanted to get caught. This is he got nothing left to lose at this point. He just playing games. What do you mean you used his real name and real passport? L thief. Like, I'm glad that they got him, but like, L thief nonetheless. Like, if you're gonna do it right.
It's real everything.
I mean, not to me though. Like, if you're gonna do it to me, make sure you use your real name, your social security card, your birth certificate, and leave behind like substantial DNA, and not like that, but like fingerprints. You know.
They went to his supposed place of residence first. The landlord told them that Sebastian had moved just over a month ago, leaving nothing behind. The landlord did have a personal phone number of his, but that was of course disconnected. The police looked for any property in his name, but there was nothing. His criminal history was also suspiciously clean. The guy had never even gotten a parking ticket. The police went to his previous jobs, all of which gave the same story. The only address they had was the one he left, and the only phone number they had was the one he had disconnected. I was furious. They literally had his full identity. There must have been something more they could have done.
I
couldn't help but blame myself for this whole ordeal.
A little bit.
You might think things ended there. You'd be very wrong. I took an extended leave from Royal Caribbean, hoping to distance myself from the whole thing. Unfortunately, the situation only escalated. About a month later, I received the first one. A blank envelope was left at my apartment with a single photograph inside. It was me, walking to my car after doing some grocery shopping. I wanted to scream. A week later, I got this.
Not for nothing, I'm gonna be real. I do feel like if you sent the envelope to their house, you don't need to show them that you know. You know, like you don't need to show a photo of them if you sent an envelope to their home. You know, I feel like, hot take, I feel like that kind of already is insinuated by the fact they got the letter. Again, I don't know. I don't be doing this, so maybe I'm just out of the loop. But saying a little odd.
Second one, a candid shot of me shopping at the mall. At first, I tried to.
Again, the first photo already shows that. Why are you doing it a second time in a different location? It's kind of like you get it with the first one. Like, you can follow me. Like, that's kind of like the first important thing, I guess. But to double down on it with another pictures, like, do you just follow her after she left the grocery store, or is this a different day? Like, what are we going for right now?
Ignoring the pictures, but they just kept coming. The envelopes came one after another, each one a picture of me, unaware of the camera. Each picture felt like a taunt, a reminder that he was still out there watching me. I can't describe the terror I lived with during these weeks. I was afraid to leave my house. I couldn't go to work, hang out with friends, or shop without constantly looking over my shoulder. After the 6th envelope, I went to the police. I know you're probably...
The 6th one, you went to the police? This man left an envelope with you unknowingly being taken photos of, and it took the 6th one for you to be like, maybe I'm in danger? I get waiting to like the second one, right? Maybe like just a one-off, but the 6th? What are these people doing? What are they doing? What is this?
Probably wondering why I didn't go after the first envelope. Honestly, I can't even answer that question. The police were not very helpful. I don't think they even knew what to do. But I wanted them to have a record of my case in the event that something more serious came of it. And that's exactly what happened. One night, knocks echoed against my bedroom window. I knew it was him. The police investigated, found nothing, and left me more scared than I had been before they arrived. I had had enough. I moved apartments immediately after that, leaving no forwarding address, changing all my contact details, and increasing my security measures as best I could. Thankfully, I never heard from that man again. It's only been about 3 months though, so hopefully I don't jinx myself by putting this into words. My best guess is that he was able to unlock my phone while I was passed out, and that's how he was able to steal all my information. The worst thing about all of this isn't everything that was stolen, or even the fact that my whole life was uprooted when I changed apartments. The worst thing about this situation is that I'll never aspire to work on a cruise ship again. I don't even know if I want to keep working as a bartender. It's crazy how quickly a lifelong dream can turn into a nightmare.
That's the worst thing. Nigga don't want to serve drinks on a boat no more. That's the worst thing that came out of this. I hated everybody in this video. I hated every character in this video. Oh my god. But remember, all it takes is one crucial mistake. That's all it takes. And then you're cooked. That's all you need.